Up with KREM begins now.
6 o'clock here. This is a live look from the Spokane International Airport and SeaTac right now. You will need your real ID to board your flight. Enforcement begins today across the country. Hi everyone, good morning. A lot to get to on this Wednesday morning. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. Before we talk to our Brandon T. Jones about some of that real ID information, we want to talk to our meteorologist, Thomas Patrick. Thomas, you just mentioned wind. What's that about?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of some extra wind for today and tonight in advance of a pretty weak storm system passing through the Pacific Northwest. And trust me, this one is looking pretty low energy overall. But you might notice a little bit of extra wind later on today, especially as our temperatures will warm up quite nicely. Still cool this morning. Few spots still in the 30s, including Coeur d'Alene at 39 and Deer Park at 35. But we are expecting those temperatures to be well into the 70s by this afternoon. So here's the storm system. It is a cold front, but notice how little rain there's already for Seattle. In fact, it's not even raining in Seattle at the moment. Is any of that even going to be able to cross the Cascades? Probably not. So there's not much rain to be had, but a little bit of some extra wind will still be attached to the storm, both in front and behind the cold front overall. So you'll notice a bit more wind, but not to any kind of severe degree.
Here's a live look at the traffic impact from I-90 and Freya as we get going on this Wednesday morning. Traffic flows are doing great here and we are crash free at 6:02. We'll keep a close eye on traffic throughout the morning with live pictures throughout our region. On Up with KREM, we bring you weather and traffic together every 30 minutes. 6:02, it's official now. Nearly 20 years after Congress passed the Real ID Act, the deadline is here.
So starting today, you will need a real ID or another enhanced type of identification in order to fly. If you don't already have one, be ready to wait. Lines at the Spokane Valley DOL yesterday were more than 3 hours long for walk-ins. And if you have a flight coming up, keep in mind, it can take over a week to get the physical copy of your real ID in the mail. And as of this morning, TSA is now following real ID security standards across the country.
KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live at the Spokane International Airport this morning. So, Brandon, tell us more about what people need to know about flying with this real ID. Luckily this morning, you're telling us you're not seeing any major backups at the Spokane Airport, right?
No, that's exactly right. Good morning, Tim, Nicole. Well, when we first got out here, probably around 4:40 or so, the line was pretty long, but that's typical for this time of the day. This is the busiest time, at least, or that time. Earlier was the busiest time here normally at the Spokane International Airport, but we got a chance to speak with, some of the airport officials. It's all the lanes for TSA were open. They knocked down the line extremely quick and all hands have been on deck. So things moving nice and smooth here. As you can see, the lines are virtually empty at this point. So not much of a wait. And if you come here later, I imagine it might be similar to that as well. But we did get a chance to speak with TSA officials ahead of this deadline, just to kind of see how they were handling this new security standard that they'd have to be following, and then also any firsthand advice they would offer travelers. For starters though, if you are traveling today or in the near future and don't have a real ID, there are other acceptable forms of identification. That includes a U.S. passport or a passport card. Here in Washington, once you get that real ID, it's ultimately going to be an enhanced driver's license. That's an accepted form of identification, military credentials, global entry, and then you can find a full list of acceptable IDs on TSA.gov. If you have none of those, you will likely run into some delays and have to go through extra security screening.
Identity verification is a cornerstone of aviation security, and we need to make sure the person standing in front of the TSA officer presenting the ID is the person who has been vetted to travel that day, is the person who we know doesn't pose an inherent security threat. So that's what all of this is about.
So again, things moving nice and smooth here at the airport. Not much of a backup on either side. So we've walked both of the different terminals and have been able to check in. You guys have your real ID? You guys have your real ID? Passports. Oh, see? Yep, they're good to go. Folks are good to go out here. Nice and moving smooth here at the Spokane International Airport. But again, just the ultimate message is that, there is going to be a new security standard here in place. So those list of IDs that we gave you. Those are all going to be acceptable forms, including a passport, as you heard some of the guests here, or the travelers here, just mentioned to us as well. But we'll continue to hang out here at the airport. We'll have more information, more of those details throughout the entire morning, and then also get a chance to speak with travelers as well. For now, I'll go ahead and toss it back to you all in the studio.
Hey Brandon, real quick, we do have some people wondering, do the Real ID rules affect people who have TSA pre-check?
Yes, actually. So if you've got TSA pre-check, you've got to have that Real ID in place as well. Having the pre-check isn't a means to bypass those real identification methods or, any of those other acceptable forms of ID as well. So you do have to have that Real ID for TSA pre-check as well.
Thank you, Brandon. That was him live at the airport this morning. Well, at 9 o'clock this morning, Brandon, as well as some other reporters across the inland Northwest, will be live for special coverage on KREM 2+. We'll have crews at airports all across the Pacific Northwest showing us how Real ID is affecting travel. Download KREM 2+ on your TV and watch for free.
New this morning, the FBI is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest of those involved in laser incidents across the state. The FBI says since March of 2024, pilots in Washington have reported a significant increase in people pointing lasers at aircrafts, especially while trying to land. Pointing a laser at an aircraft is not only dangerous, it's a federal offense and carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. If you have any information, call the number on your screen. We also have more information on our website, KREM.com.
The Federal Trade Commission is cracking down on deceptive fees. Starting next Monday, live event ticketing and short-term lodging rentals will have to list total prices more prominently than other prices. Hotels cannot tack on resort fees unless they put them in that total price. And businesses have to describe exactly what all of these fees are for. Saying vague reasons like convenience services or processing fees is not allowed anymore.
At 6:07, another look at our weather forecast. So this morning, a bit cool for some areas. I've been noticing temperatures range mostly in the 30s and 40s. Just the Spokane airport is standing out a little bit warmer at 50 degrees. But what we're watching closely here is the winds, as they'll likely increase today. Right now, just 5 miles per hour, which is pretty calm at the moment. But I do think it increases just ever so steadily into the afternoon and evening hours. So 77 and a breezy afternoon, and then we get a small chance for showers tonight as the winds will stay decently breezy. I don't want to call them strong because they're not going to be strong. They're not going to cause any kind of damage, but it will be breezy for the afternoon and evening.
The process of picking the next pope starts today. Crowds are gathering in St. Peter's Square as the whole world waits to find out who will be the next pope.
So this right here that you're looking at is a live look at Vatican City, where the papal conclave is just getting started. Well, that there is new video this morning. Take a look. Cardinals gathered for the Holy Mass in St. Peter's Basilica. It is the first official event on the conclave schedule.
Here's what else is happening today. At 7:30 this morning Pacific time, 4:30 in the afternoon Vatican time, the 133 cardinal electors will come together for a prayer before heading to the Sistine Chapel. That is where they will vote and elect a new pope.
We are expecting them to cast at least one full vote today. When they finish voting, the cardinals will send smoke through a chimney on the Sistine Chapel. Black smoke means the cardinals did not elect a new pope. White smoke means they did decide on a new pope.